وإن قال أحد الوالدين لولده طلق زوجتك. Now, if one of the parents told his child, divorce your wife, لأنهما لا يحبان زوجته, because they do not like his wife, مع أنها لا تؤذيهما, though she does not harm them. يسن له, it is recommended for him أن يطيعهما في ذلك, to obey them in that. ولا يجب عليه, and it is not obligatory upon him. أما إن كانت تؤذيهما بالشتم والضرب ونحو ذلك, as for if she harms them though by insults and hitting and the likes of that, أو كانت معروفة بالفسق كالزنا, or she was known for major sin like adultery, وكان إن لم يطلقها يحصل لهما غم شديد, and the case was that if he does not divorce her, then they will be extremely depressed, distraught, gloomy, غم, بسبب ذلك, because of that, because of his not divorcing her. يجب عليه أن يطلقها, it would be obligatory on him to divorce her. وأما إن أمره أحد والديه بأن يتزوج فلانة. Now, as for if one of his parents tells him to marry fulana, وكان لا يرغب بالزواج منها, and he was not interested in marrying her, يبين لهما السبب في ذلك, then he clarifies for his parents his reason for that. ولا يجب عليه أن يتزوجها لمجرد أنهما أمراه بذلك, and it's not obligatory on him to marry her because they merely commanded him to do so. I could maybe use even a stronger word here. Demanded of him to do so. وَيَكْرَهَانِ عَدَمَ طَاعَتِهِمَا, and they both dislike for him not to obey them. فِي ذَلِكَ, in that regard, in that issue. مِنْ غَيْرِ أَنْ يَحْصُلَ لَهُمَا غَمْ, without them getting any depression, then he's not obligated. أما إن كان يحصل لهما غم شديد, as for though, if they do get depressed, distraught, إن لم يتزوجها, if he does not marry her, فإن قيل يجب عليه أن يتزوجها, then if it were said it's obligatory on him to marry her, يعني, if there were such a verdict, لا بأس, it's okay. There could be such a verdict. Such a verdict could be said. وإن أراد أن يتزوج واحدة وهما لا يريدان أن يتزوجها, and if he wants to marry one and they don't want him to marry her, فإن كان يحصل لهما اغتمام شديد, then if they get severely distraught, in فعل, if he does it, لا يجوز له أن يتزوجها, then it will not be permissible for him to marry her. So, mashallah, that says a lot about the right of the parent. MashaAllah. وأما حديث, as for the hadith, الجنة تحت أقدام الأمهات, the garden is under the feet of the mothers, فهو ضعيف. This is weak. ومعناه ببر الأمهات تنال الجنة. And its meaning is that by treating the mothers well, paradise is obtained. وفي فتاوى الإمام الفقيه الحافظ شيخ الإسلام سراج الدين البلقيني ما نصه. In the verdicts of the Imam, the jurist, the Hadith headmaster, and the Sheikh of Islam, Sirajuddin al-Bulqini, ما نصه, quote, مسألة, case, قد ابتلي الناس بها, a case by which the people have been tested, a case by which the people have been afflicted. واحتيج إلى بسط الكلام عليها. And so there is a need to elaborate on it. وإلى تفاريعها ليحصل المقصود في ضمن ذلك. He says there's a need to elaborate, bastul kalam, to expand, to elaborate عليها وإلى تفاريعها, and to uh, go into its branches, to go into its offshoots. ليحصل المقصود في ضمن ذلك, so that the benefit would occur through the course of that, so that the point would be made, the goal, so that the goal will be achieved in the process of doing that. وهي السؤال عن ضابط الحد الذي يعرف به عقوق الوالدين. It is the question about the exact rule by which the definition of harming the parents, the exact rule of defining harming the parents. What is the scientific definition of harming the parents? إذ الإحالة على العرف من غير مثال لا يحصل به المقصود. Since referring the answer to the norm without an example doesn't clarify the case. Meaning, in so many cases, someone would ask, well, how do you define this? We say, according to the norm. What's a journey? A journey is what's normally called traveling, for example. What can you wipe on in wudu, on your feet? What's called khufs, normally, etc. Forwarding this definition of harming the parents merely to the norm without an example, it doesn't clarify the case. إذ الناس أغراضهم تحملهم على أن يجعلوا ما ليس بعرف عرفا، ولا سيما إذا كان قصدهم تنقيص شخص أو أذاه، فلا بد من مثال ينسج على منواله. Ya Allah. I love to read the talk of the powerful scholars. It shows up. He said, especially since, especially when, sorry, I'm missing something. Since, let me back up more. So he says, the question is, what is the exact scientific definition of harming the parents, or uququl walidain? Since forwarding this definition to the norm without an example uh, does not clarify the case. So it means to say, so it's not helpful. If it doesn't clarify the case, it means not useful. إذ الناس أغراضهم تحملهم على أن يجعلوا ما ليس بعرف عرفا. Since the people's motivations drive them to make something that's not normal normal. Subhanallah wa bihamdi. Yani, people justify what they want to do. ولا سيما إذا كان قصدهم تنقيص شخص. Especially if their intent or goal is to put someone down. أو أذاه, or to harm someone or hurt him in some way. Yani, if he's motivated to do it, he will be delightful and energetic to do it, enthusiastic. فلا بد من مثال ينسج على منواله. So then an example is inevitable, is unavoidable. An example that goes there. That's rough translation right there. وهو أنه مثلا لو كان له على أبيه حق شرعي. Which is that, for example, had a person had over his father a religious right. So he has a right over his father about something, it means. فاختار أن يرفعه إلى الحاكم. And so he chose to take him to the judge. Yani, he chose to sue his dad. ليأخذ حقه منه, so that he can take his right from him. ولو بحبسه, even if it leads to his being imprisoned. فهل يكون ذلك عقوقا أم لا? Now, would this be harming the parent or not? You see the scenario. Because, yani, this bothers the parent on a personal level. So is it a uquq? Well, on the other hand, he has a right over his father here. So then, what is the exact definition of harming the parents? أجاب هذا الموضع صرح فيه بعض العلماء الأكابر بعسر ضبطه. The answer is that this subject, some of the elite scholars explicitly said that it is difficult to exactly quantify a scientific definition for it. وقد فتح الله تعالى بضابط أرجو من فضل الفتاح العليم أن يكون حسنا. And he says here, يعني, according to the way the scholars usually talk when they say something like this, and what he's saying is, Allah Ta'ala has endowed upon me to know how to scientifically define this sin. وقد فتح الله تعالى بضابط. Allah opened up a precise definition. Yani, he means, for me, he made me understand. أرجو من فضل الفتاح العليم أن يكون حسنا. I hope that I hope for the for يعني, Bismillah. So I hope from the generosity of Al-Fattah Al-Alim, that's Allah, that it is good. Yani, he believes that it is good, and therefore he's going to say what it is. فأقول, and I therefore say, العقوق لأحد الوالدين, harming one of the two parents, هو أن يؤذي الولد أحد والديه بما لو فعله مع غير والديه كان محرما من جملة الصغائر. It is for the child to harm or bother you, to harm or bother the parent, one of the parents, uh, with that which, or by that which, had he done so with someone else other than his parents, it would have been haram and it would have been a small sin. Hmm. Yani, what Sheikh Al-Bulqini is saying here is a case needs to be defined. And take this example about a child who wants to sue his father for a right that he has over his father. Is this rukuk or not? It's like he's saying, from the different cases, I knew how to exactify the definition. And in his attempt to exactify this definition, it's going to be wordy, lengthy. Yani, he wants to say something that nothing that shouldn't be there is there. And anything that should be there, it is there. So he says, Hua, it is. أن يؤذي الولد أحد والديه بما لو فعله مع غير والديه كان محرما من جملة الصغائر. For the child to bother or harm one of his parents by that which, had he done so with another, someone other than the parents, it would have been a small sin. فينتقل بالنسبة إلى أحد الوالدين إلى الكبائر. This very thing, in relation to one of the parents, will be a major sin. It says ينتقل. It will transfer to be a major sin. What would have been a small sin with someone else will be a major sin with the parents. أو أن يخالف أمره أو نهيه فيما يدخل فيه الخوف على الولد من فوات نفسه أو عضو من أعضائه ما لم يتهم الوالد في ذلك. Or for the child to oppose the parent's demand or the parent's prohibition that leads to the parent fearing for the child's life. So the child disobeys the parent in a way that makes the parent fear for the child's life. The child disobeys the parent in a way that makes the parent fear for the child's life. or fear for one of the child's limbs, as long as the parent is not, uh, as long as the parent is not implicated in that. That part right now I don't have explanation. ما لم يتهم الوالد في ذلك. But يعني, let's see his definition here so far. He says, to do with someone other than the parent what would be, يعني, to harm or bother, إذا يؤذي, to harm or bother someone in a haram way, and this is a minor sin. So if this were the level of someone's sin, his harm or bother to another, if that were directed to the parents, it's a major sin. That's one thing he says here. And he says, or going against the parent, disobeying the parent in a way that makes the parent fear for the child's life or one of his limbs. So that's another thing. Then this is عقوق الوالدين. أو أن يخالفه في سفر يشق على الوالد, or to disobey the parent concerning a journey that is difficult for the parent to accept. وليس بفرض على الولد, and it's not obligatory on the child to make this journey. أو في غيبة طويلة, or to disobey the parent concerning long absence. فيما ليس بعلم نافع ولا كسب, long absence unrelated to acquiring beneficial knowledge and unrelated to earning. أو من وقيعة في العرض لها وقع, or to disobey the parents in such a way that results in dishonor, a dishonor that is significant, a significant dishonoring. وبيان هذا الضابط, and the clarification of this scientific rule, أن قولنا أن يؤذي الولد أحد والديه بما لو فعله مع غير والديه كان محرما, is that when we say for the child to bother or harm one of his parents in such a way that it would have been with other than his parents haram, فمثاله لو شتم غير أحد والديه, its example is like had he insulted someone other than his parents, أو ضربه, or struck him, بحيث لا ينتهي الشتم والضرب إلى الكبيرة, such that this insult or strike does not reach the level of a major sin. فإنه يكون المحرم المذكور إذا فعله الولد مع أحد والديه كان كبيرة. Indeed, the forementioned prohibition, if done, if the child does it with one of his parents, it would be a major sin. Now, for the Shaykh, that's Al-Bulqini's Mujtahid Madhab, rahimahullah, to say a shatum, an insult, that does la yantahi ilal kabira, does not reach the level of a major sin, I don't know what it is. because I have only learned Sibabul Muslimi fusuq. Insulting the Muslim is a major sin. So I don't know what's an example of that. How about we stop here, inshallah ta'ala. We will next time continue from here. وبيان هذا الضابط, the clarification of this exact rule, and then we'll start breaking down the exact rule. Any question?